WNBA legend Rebecca Lobo just exposed a harsh truth about Caitlin Clark and the league's dirty secret. Sure, Clark is lighting up the court, breaking records, and pulling in the biggest crowds women's basketball has ever seen. But behind all the highlights and packed arenas, there's a problem nobody can ignore anymore. Is the league really keeping its biggest star safe? Before we get into exactly what Rebecca Lobo exposed, let's take a quick look at who Clark is and why the entire league seems to revolve around her right now. Caitlin Elizabeth Clark was the first pick in the 2024 WNBA draft. She finished her first season as the Rookie of the Year. Clark played magic basketball and fed us highlight moments all season long. Caitlin Clark missed 5 games due to injury, and during that stretch, viewership took a noticeable hit. Her absence was felt across the league. Her return after those 5 games reminded the world just how important she is to not just the Indiana Fever, but the entire WNBA. She played the New York Liberty and scored 25 points in the first half alone, including scoring 9 points in less than 45 seconds. But while Caitlin Clark's dazzling plays have lit up the WNBA, a troubling pattern has emerged. The league seems to be failing to protect its biggest star. WNBA legend Rebecca Lobo recently called it out, pointing to a dirty secret. But before that, this is what she said about Caitlin Clark's return after her injury. But as much as fans celebrated her return, Rebecca Lobo didn't stop there. In a following interview, she shifted gears, calling out what she described as a dirty secret in the WNBA. And it had everything to do with how the league has handled Clark, or in this case, failed to. This outburst was a reaction to the Fever versus Connecticut Sun game, a matchup that turned physical fast, and not in a competitive way. It was a game where Caitlin Clark wasn't just defended, she was targeted, shoved off screens, hit on drives, and thrown to the ground with no call in sight. It wasn't just tough basketball, it was bullying in broad daylight. And the worst part? The officials let it slide, over and over. Connecticut's J.C. Sheldon was hounding Clark with aggressive defense, leading to a verbal exchange. Clark, fed up, pushed Sheldon away, escalating the intensity. The refs, already on edge, let the chippy play slide, setting the stage for chaos. Midway through the third quarter, with the Fever up 55-45, things boiled over. Sheldon poked Clark in the eye while defending a pass, a play later ruled a flagrant one for its potential to injure. Clark, visibly frustrated, shoved Sheldon back. Sun guard Marina Mabrey then blindsided Clark, shoving her to the floor after the whistle. This was a move that fans and analysts, including NBA TV's Debbie Antonelli, called a clear ejection-worthy offense. Shockingly, the refs only issued technical fouls to Clark, Mabrey, and Suns' Tina Charles, who tried to break things up. Crew chief Ashley Gloss later admitted Mabrey's foul didn't meet flagrant 2 criteria at the time, but the WNBA upgraded it to a flagrant 2 post-game. Fever coach Stephanie White had some pretty strong words for the WNBA and its refs after the game about how nothing gets done after terrible refereeing. This wasn't just about one game. The WNBA's part-time refs, paid per game unlike the NBA's salaried officials, have been criticized all season for inconsistent calls. Coaches like White and Las Vegas's Becky Hammon have pointed to a league-wide issue, with stars like Brittany Griner and Kelsey Plum also calling out officiating lapses. These particular inconsistencies happen to Caitlin Clark way too often. People cannot help but wonder, could there be a secret agenda against Caitlin Clark in the WNBA? Going back to the game against the New York Liberty, there were several controversial moments that got the whole world talking. The last play nearly blew the lid off the game. Caitlin Clark, sprinting for a game-winning 3, had the ball stripped by Cloud, who made significant contact. Clark pleaded for a foul, but the refs stayed silent. As the clock hit 0, Fever players and coaches swarmed the officials, with White and general manager Amber Cox visibly furious. Coach White did not take that lightly, and this is what she had to say about the game. This kind of treatment toward Caitlin Clark didn't just happen in her second season. Ever since her rookie season, it's felt like the league hasn't done enough to protect her. Game after game, she's taken hits, been shoved off the ball, and barely gotten a whistle. And that's what Rebecca Lobo was really getting at. It's not just about missed calls, it's about a league that's been way too quiet while its biggest star gets targeted. In Game 2 of the 2024 WNBA playoffs, the Indiana Fever lost 87-81 to the Connecticut Sun, ending their season. But the officiating stole the headlines. Just over 3 minutes into the first quarter, Clark launched a deep three-pointer, only to be knocked off balance by Dawana Bonner's contact while attempting to block the shot. Clark immediately pleaded for a foul, but the refs stayed silent. This is exactly what makes Rebecca Lobo's words hit even harder, because she didn't just point out one bad game. She exposed a bigger problem that's been building all along. During a 103-88 loss to the Seattle Storm, Clark faced relentless physicality that went largely uncalled. Early in the game, Storm forward Easy Magbagor bumped Clark off a screen with clear body contact, causing her to stumble, no whistle. If the league can market Caitlin Clark as the face of the WNBA, then why can't it protect her like one? Caitlin Clark's rise has put the WNBA on a global stage, but the league's failure to protect her reveals cracks in its foundation that go beyond a few bad calls. The game isn't fair not just for Clark, but for the sport's future. First, the officiating mess. Unlike the NBA, which employs full-time refs with rigorous training and an off-site replay center, the WNBA relies on part-time officials, about 30 in 2025, who juggle day jobs and earn per game, not a salary. Sports Illustrated noted that this setup leads to inconsistent calls. When Clark gets blindsided, like Marina Mabrey's shove or Derica Hamby's elbow, refs often miss the call or hesitate, leaving players to fend for themselves. The WNBA's lack of real-time replay tech, unlike the NBA's Secaucus hub, means errors, like Mabrey's foul only being upgraded to a flagrant two-post game, aren't fixed in the moment. Fans on X have called it a clown show, with one post venting, "Wow, WNBA refs are paid less than college refs? They make $2,000 per game, and college refs make $5,000? No wonder they degaf." Compare that to the NBA, where stars like Jason Tatum or Nikola Jokic get consistent whistles. Why is Clark left to fend for herself? Just like the Aces game, spirits were high and excitement was everywhere as some of the biggest names in women's basketball were clashing on the court until the refs decided to step in. Jackie Young's hand made contact with Caitlin Clark's face, sending her stumbling back, and this time, to the absolute fear of the Indiana Fever fans, she stayed down for a while. Caitlin Clark was finally able to make it to her feet, and the fans could not believe what the ref called it, a common foul. The reaction was loud. Boos rained down from the standards, and in moments like that, you really begin to wonder if the officials are watching the same game as everyone else, or if protecting star players just isn't part of the WNBA's game plan. Another famous referee blunder would be the time that the Fever found themselves in a battle against the Seattle Storm. Caitlin Clark drove to the basket like she usually did so well. She took a couple of hits leading to the basket, but still no whistle from the refs. Somebody needs to remind the WNBA that the stakes are massive. Clark's games have boosted WNBA revenue by millions, funding new charter flights and bigger contracts. But if the league can't protect her, they risk alienating the fans she brings. Look at the numbers. In 2025, Clark's games averaged 8.5 million viewers per ESPN, while non-Clark games dipped as low as 3 million. Every missed call, every unpunished foul, isn't just a hit to Clark, it's a hit to the league's growth. Coaches like Stephanie White are sounding the alarm, saying, if we don't fix officiating, we're failing our players and our fans. This then leads to what WNBA legend Rebecca Lobo said about the WNBA treating Caitlin Clark. The WNBA can't keep cashing in on Caitlin Clark's name while turning a blind eye to how she's treated on the court. You can't call her the face of the league, then leave her exposed to elbows, shoves, and silence. If this is how the league treats its brightest star, then maybe the real dirty secret isn't just about bad officiating, it's about a system that only protects its players when it's convenient. And if something doesn't change soon, fans won't just be booing refs, they'll be questioning the league itself.